AOC is currently melting down after the massive backlash she faced after voting to fund the Iron Dome. Marjorie Taylor Greene introduced a resolution to defund the Iron Dome, and AOC voted against it and thought she could deflect away from a horrible vote by shifting focus onto Marjorie Taylor Greene. So AOC votes to fund the Iron Dome once again. Then she turns around and smears people who sided with Marjorie Taylor Greene and supported defunding the Iron Dome as aligning with Nazis. How can AOC and the NATO left accuse anyone else of aligning with Nazis after voting to arm Banderite Nazis in Ukraine because of their Putin derangement syndrome? The NATO left still doesn't realize that they forever lost the ability to play the Nazi card. AOC is really implying that people like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and the entirety of the left who don't support funding the Iron Dome are aligning with Nazis? AOC just completely exposed herself. AOC messed up so badly, she united the entirety of the left who teamed up to drag her ass. And AOC is not taking it well. After facing this massive backlash for being a Zionist puppet, AOC ran to shit-lived Blue Sky to complain about how she's being canceled by the left. AOC complaining about the threat environment while she is voting to send military aid to a state committing a genocide is peak narcissist, Zionist behavior. Bernie Sanders and AOC are disgusting liberal Zionists who support the existence of Israel, reject liberal Zionism, and embrace Palestinian liberation. Donald Trump has a special announcement regarding the Ukraine war tomorrow. Spoiler alert, he's sending more weapons. Remember when Donald Trump said he was going to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours?
We could end the Ukraine conflict in 24 hours, in 24 hours.
In 24 hours. In one day, 24 hours.
In 24 hours.
In 24 hours.
In 24 hours.
I can do it in 24 hours.
Now the narrative of the ruling class is that Donald Trump is fed up with Vladimir Putin, and now he's willing to take the fight to Russia.
We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. I was very disappointed with my call with President Putin. I am very disappointed with President Putin.
We're not happy with Putin. I'm not happy with Putin.
Notice how in order to continue this war, Donald Trump is playing dumb and acting like he doesn't understand the Russian demands to end this war, because Donald Trump was allowed to win so he can continue the Ukraine war and sell the war to his resistant MAGA base. Now Trump can turn to MAGA and claim that he tried to negotiate with Putin, but Putin simply was being too unreasonable. You guys see the game that they were playing? The reality of the situation is that Putin has no reason to negotiate with the pro-Nazi, batshit crazy West. Russia is winning, and Ukraine is not the West to negotiate over. MAGA was a giant psyop in order to convince a bunch of angry white dudes to vote Republican after George W. Bush and Barack Obama. You have to be insane to believe a reality game show host was going to disrupt the plans of the United States empire. Vladimir Putin remains unfazed as Donald Trump continues to hurl unhinged threats against Russia because Putin refused to concede to his demands. Can someone remind Donald Trump that NATO and the West is losing this conflict? Putin has all the cards here, sir. That is why Russia is not flinching at these pathetic threats by Donald Trump. Russian sources explain that Putin isn't shocked at Donald Trump's anger and pivot. Putin predicted that Donald Trump would flip on this issue and serve the empire once again. Putin knows that Donald Trump is responsible for enabling this conflict in the first place during his first term. That is why Putin is punishing Donald Trump and humiliating him on the global stage. Putin wasn't caught off guard by Donald Trump's position on Ukraine because Russia has made it clear that they view all United States presidents as the same, and foreign policy doesn't really change between these puppets in the suit. Donald Trump's plan for Ukraine is the exact same as Joe Biden's. His plan is to defeat Russia on the battlefield somehow and force Russia to accept concessions. So if you voted for Donald Trump thinking that he was going to end the Ukraine war, you was fooled once again. Donald Trump is leading the West into another humiliating defeat.
What's poppin'? My friends, my family, we are back once again. This is the second episode of my new evening series. Nick at prime time, Nick at night, don't matter what you want to call it. But y'all thought I was lying. I told you guys we're doing this 3 times a week now. You guys asked for it, so that is what we're going to deliver. The first episode essentially was a 2.5-hour rant about Zionism, how much I hate Israel. So the first episode, 2 hours of bashing Zionism. But you guys know, I had to bring a banger with you for the second episode. You guys know I'm friends with Sarah from DDG. They do amazing work. Great job covering geopolitics. Sarah has very entertaining spaces as well. What's popping, bro?
How are you? It's been a little while. I think it's been a grip.
Yeah, you know I always gotta have you back on, especially when we start this.
How have you been?
I'm good, man. You guys know I'm always in the lab cooking. You guys know I'm always in the lab cooking. That's why I'm showing you guys 3 hotspots for the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I saw your tour of the Black Panthers.
Oh yeah, that was so cool.
You guys were doing community outreach and stuff.
Yeah, we have such a fantastic relationship with the Hampton family now. Fred Hampton Jr. rescheduling him to come on the show here soon. He said he wanted to come on. We've been trying to work on this for a while. He's a very busy guy, but they asked to come on after we came on because we had a great mutual aid event last week. We was thinking about live streaming it, but I just said fuck it because not everything has to be for content. You know what I mean? That was such a unique experience organizing with the Hampton family. Bro, there were so many RBN homies there. I was about live streaming, but I was like, man, not everything has to be for content. Like, we got to live in the now. And I had a great time. I'm glad everyone showed up. So now it's back. It's time to get back in the lab and start cooking. I want to show you guys this because my hotspot I shot today, because I'm thinking I do like 4 or 5 hotspots a week, so I'm gonna have at least 1 to show you guys every episode. But you guys see Trump is making these crazy threats. Sarah, I want you to respond to this because we had one of the most cartooniest motherfuckers in the United States, Lindsey Graham. This guy goes to church every fucking Sunday, and then the first thing he does after he leaves church is go on cable TV and explain why we should bomb another country. Like, this motherfucker's soul, it has to be in damnation. I'm like, I'm not a religious person. I guess it's not my place to say, but I feel like if you go to church in the morning and then right after you leave church, you advocate bombing people.
This is American Christianity. You gotta love it. Yeah, very true. Fire and brimstone. Let's get involved in politics. But yeah, and Lindsey Graham's good for that. He's like one of those revival tent kind of Christians, you know? Yeah. The snakes.
Yeah. Tongues. I have a lot of gay friends. You guys know I love the gays, but there's nothing more.
Are you insinuating that Lindsey Graham is gay?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, man. There's nothing more cringe when straight people pretend they're not gay. You know what I mean? You know what? There's nothing that we have against gay people, obviously. We just like, hey, man, we just wish you got a closet. Stop fucking supporting extremely.
Why do we all gotta be in on this charade? Like, just come out, like Lindsey. Like, just come out.
Like, fam. We saw how much Grindr was popping during the RNC. We saw how much Grindr was popping. Anyway, all right, let's get serious. I'm gonna show you this clip, and Sarah, you can respond first because this is this hilarious cope from the neocons on the right who still can't admit that this conflict that Putin has long since had to checkmated.
And Putin, your turn is coming. You know, Donald Trump is the Scotty Scheffler of American politics and foreign diplomacy, and he's about to put a whooping on your ass. What's going to happen here is that Trump is going to impose tariffs on people that buy Russian oil. China, India, and Brazil, those 3 countries buy about 80% of cheap Russian oil. That's what keeps Putin's war machine going. So President Trump's going to put 100% tariff on all those countries, punishing them for helping Putin.
Really, there will be no downside to that. But Sarah, I'll let you go first. Any reactions?
He said, "Whoop that ass" or something.
Look at the gayest I ever heard that phrase ever said. Putin gonna whoop that ass.
I don't know why we think that secondary sanctions is a flex. That means that you're panicking. So
Yeah.
I don't know why they're like, we're gonna punish everybody else. And it's like, that means you've lost.
You have to ask yourself the question, what is that for then? Because we know everyone and their mama know these secondary sanctions not gonna do shit. The only thing it's going to do is rally more people away from the U.S. dollar because countries see that the West is willing to weaponize their financial and economic system. But it's actually not going to hurt Russia, it's not going to hurt China, it's not going to hurt BRICS because the world is already preparing for this. So this is just to give the illusion, this is my thoughts, it's to give the illusion to their base that they still have options to play against Russia when they don't.
No, they don't. They really don't. There's very little left in the terms of their arsenal, or even I don't want to say it's a ladder of escalation. But maybe like they were trying to get Russia into a corner, and there's just no corner they can really back them into. They've actually backed themselves into a corner to where now they're like, we got to resume weapons. Like we just got to start sending everything again. So they've failed spectacularly with Ukraine. Spectacularly. Yep. And there was another set of talks today, and the Russians, they really aren't amused at all. They're not happy. And then we're going to talk about the law that was just put into action. But Putin, the attitude, and I repeated it more than once from that I get from Russian political circles, is that they're allowing the Americans to kind of hang themselves. They're just biding their time. So this rings true. Very unfazed, very Russian, very stoic. Just keep it moving. We're doing what we need to do.
Very, very well said. And it's sad that there are people who still don't understand that Putin has Trump checkmated. I explained this many times on the show, but do you guys know what the Zelensky curse is? Kamala Harris is a recent victim of the Zelensky curse. Do you guys have any idea how many Western leaders have been ousted from their positions after the start of the Ukraine war? Do you guys know how politically popular Putin is in Russia? Who do you guys think is in a position to politically wait this situation out? Putin and the Russian people view Ukraine as existential, which is why Russians largely support Putin's war aim. They know the history. They know that there is a rise of Nazi, anti-Russian extremist behavior in Ukraine that the West is stoking, and they just simply want Ukraine to be a buffer state, which I said for years. Now, I don't think that's unreasonable. No. It's probably the most reasonable thing to have. Like, hey, man, we don't want to fucking run Ukraine. We just don't want you to be in it. Let's have a buffer state where they're kind of neutral between both of us. That has been the Russian demand. Well, let me be careful. That was their demand in the beginning. They are a little bit more maximist just because Zelensky fucked up. But Sarah, do you have anything you want to add? Because I still got a lot to say.
Keep going. No, keep going. Somebody said if Lindsey Graham's spokesperson for your country's foreign policy, that's exactly right. Lindsey Graham should not be on any live media commentating on foreign policy, especially in Ukraine. We know what Lindsey Graham does when he goes over to Ukraine, and it has a lot to do with boys of the night and human trafficking. That's not a lie. His bill in Ukraine last time was almost $1 million. $800,000 his bill when he traveled to Ukraine last.
What does it say that Donald Trump is endorsing people like Lindsey Graham?
Right.
And he praising Mark Levin. While he's going
they all have this mutually assured destruction because they're all such disgusting people that it's like, I'll F you over if you F me over. So we're just going to continue down this road of just degeneracy together. It's the same thing with Bibi. I get the vibe. Like this sort of like, we're friends because we could F each other over so badly that we are just going to kind of collaborate.
So considering Russia annexed large areas of eastern Ukraine and have a lot of these areas that they already liberated, the fact that Ukraine is bleeding military-aged men to the point where they had to hijack people on the streets. Do you guys think that's sustainable? Meanwhile, Russia's just warming up. Nigga, they're military-industrial complex. They're like, bro, we making so much money. We kicking it. Russia, they kicking. They got plenty of reserves, plenty of backup. Meanwhile, Russia and Ukraine, they are dragging people off the streets. So once again, who's in a sustainable position? No one in Washington, D.C. is talking about this. So then Trump comes out and like, why won't Putin accept my demands? Sir, do you understand the situation that you are in? That you started? Because this started under Donald Trump's first term. So Putin, look at this. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, but look at this headline. Putin appears unfazed by emotional Trump threats over Ukraine. And then when you look at what Putin and the Russian government has been saying, they are saying they are not surprised at the pivot that Donald Trump made on Ukraine. They're not surprised that he pivoted, and he's emotional about this. Because what did Putin tell you guys last year? And people thought he was trolling. He's like, bro, I don't care if Kamala, Trump, it doesn't matter. They're going to do the same damn thing. So Putin is not caught off guard. Like, he's not shocked that he's not fucking in shambles. MAGA in the West is, because they just realized tick, 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 tick. So we talk about the Zelensky curse as well. Mm-hmm. What happens when you have a large amount of MAGA people who support Donald Trump because they believed him for some reason when Donald Trump said he wanted to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours? So what happens to Trump politically when he fails that? Trump is not running for a second term, but we're going to see the midterms be another example of the Zelensky curse. So once again, who has the upper hand? Putin, who's politically strong, or Donald Trump, who has to desperately deliver a victory in terms of ending the Ukraine war? And Putin knows this. Putin is literally treating Trump like a child. So Putin, I'm sorry I'm being long-winded on this, but Putin knows that Trump promised his base an end to this war in 24 hours. And Putin also knows that Trump started this conflict. So what is Putin doing? He is punishing Trump. Mm-hmm. And embarrassing him on the global stage. But anyway, let me move on. Any other thoughts, Sarah, before I move on to the next?
We're good.
So I'm going to show you guys this because the reporting on this story, I have so much to say. I might do a hotspot on this tomorrow. We'll see. I see if Nico and David covering it. I usually make sure to see what they're covering because this is. I saw a BBC segment. I was watching this maybe an hour before I show the show. It's the cope. It's hilarious because this is just another example of the fascist Ukrainian regime. So Zelensky just forced a bill which essentially stripped the independence of the anti-corruption body in his government. Now the anti-corruption bodies have to report to the chief prosecutor general in Ukraine. And the chief prosecutor general in Ukraine is a Zelensky loyalist. Mm-hmm. And watching BBC explain this was so hilarious. It was so uncomfortable. It was like, hey, man, I thought we were supposed to get rid of authoritarianism during the Maidan Revolution. What happened? There are people in Ukraine that are shocked. Like, Ukraine banned political parties, the right to collectively bargain. When we say that it's a Nazi state, we are not just being deflammatory. What is one of the first things the Nazi did when they took power? They banned the right to collectively bargain. They banned workers' rights, and they banned political oppositions. Exactly what Zelensky is doing. So, Sarah, what's your reaction to this story? There are these protests in Ukraine as Zelensky signed this insane anti-corruption bill. But you have any reaction?
I think it's really interesting because the amount of corruption in Ukraine as is incredible. And so I don't know, maybe you can give me and the listeners a little bit more backstory about what the contents of the bill are. As far as I can understand, they are eliminating 2 agencies that were responsible for tracking corruption in the country. Is that what's going on? Yeah,
there was so much that Zelensky has done in terms of getting rid of oversight, because I was watching this. It was almost like a podcast forum conversation where they brought this Ukraine reporter on where he trying to explain what's going on. And they're like, yeah, there's been a lot of concerns because the Ukrainian economic officer that was in charge of oversight where weapons come flowing in Ukraine, he was fired by Zelensky months ago.
Right.
And people were like, wait, what? So like Zelensky, just like Netanyahu, is doing what? He knows he can't win this war.
Yeah.
So he's extending it so he can continue to reign as a dictator because he will lose if there was elections. Look at the streets in Ukraine. He will get wiped out. But Sarah, go ahead. I think if you want.
No, yeah, exactly that. He is also very scared because the corruption is really starting to seep out. People are very unhappy within Ukraine, and they've been protesting. The Rada, you said he forced it through, which is absolutely right. There were many factions inside the Rada that did not. Sorry, guys, the Rada is the name of Ukraine's parliament. That were inside the Rada that did not support this bill, but they wound up supporting it overwhelmingly because they were forced to. Even people that were pro-Russian supported it. So it's very interesting what's going on in Ukraine. It seems like the cracks are really starting to show. The wheels are really falling off. But then as we just discussed, on the other hand, we have the West that's still pumping weapons into that place. It's such a disaster. It's really a disaster.
And that's another reason why you guys see Lindsey Graham on Fox News to reassure his base that there's plan to action when there's not. Because the goal of this war, like all wars, is not successful war, is the what? Never-ending profitable war. So Trump is here to sell the Ukraine war to his base so they can continue to sell more weapons and use Ukraine as a way to test battlefield innovations. Like every once in a while, like it mostly happens on right-wing shows. Like it doesn't happen on CNN, MSNBC, because whenever they talk about Ukraine, they talk about human rights. Putin is a tyrant. That's how they sell war to liberals. But since there was a lot of right-wing pushback on the Ukraine war, on Fox News, you hear it all the time. Like, I'm actually surprised it doesn't get clipped more. I don't have time to show you guys all the Fox News clips I be seeing, but you'll have like some general fuck. I wish I remember this guy's name. He's on fucking Fox News all the time. I remember he said, "Oh goddamn, I'm blanking on this guy's name." General white guy neocon fuck. I'm blanking on his name. Either way, he was essentially saying that he like, man, all you guys saying that we're wasting American taxpayer money. No, this is great for us because we get to renew United States stockpiles. We get to renew and have new weapons for. Like he's explaining the military-industrial complex goal on why he supports this war, and that's how the right sells this war to each other. And that's what Trump is doing by delaying this war, by pretending that he's seeking peace. It buys more time for the military-industrial complex to make profit. So why is Zelensky shelving an anti-corruption body in Ukraine right as there is large accusations of massive corruption regarding how Ukraine treats aid and weapon deliveries in Ukraine? And I love having fun with the NATO left on this. I really wish I can get some more Ro Khanna's on, because you guys remember when I asked Ro Khanna about this and he had no answer. So I'm like, hey, sir, you're the one who said you want to end gun violence. You guys are the people who have anti-gun derangement syndrome. So why would you vote to arm a Nazi state and create a system where you have a boom of black markets in guns? Because there's like 40% of guns and ammunitions that was sent to Ukraine that's unaccountable.
Yep.
So because of Ro Khanna, because of AOC, and because of the liberal class, we're going to deal with neo-Nazi and terrorist organizations having billions of dollars of military equipment now because of the boom of the black market. And I am not making this up. I didn't get this from independent media. Why do you guys think I listen to the corporate news? I got this from the Biden administration. The Biden administration in 2022 wrote a report explaining how the DHS is concerned about a black market boom in guns. Now I read this headline. I'll get you in here, Sarah. Where is the missing $100 billion in U.S. aid for Ukraine? Now do you guys see why Zelensky rushed this bill to end any oversight over corruption? Here's another one, bro. You can find these articles all day.
All over.
I'll give you 3 quick examples. Pentagon finds another $2 billion in accounting errors in Ukraine aid. How convenient. Over $1 billion in U.S. aid to Ukraine not properly tracked. You guys see how these are different stories in different times that you can pluck at any situation. People have no idea the money laundering scheme that has been approved by the entirety of the NATO left, the liberals and Democratic apparatus. But Sarah, anything else you want to add on the story before we move on?
Even before that, the receipts. But I think a lot of this, is by design. Maybe not the ones that you've cited, but there was another story, and that's kind of been an ongoing thing of the receipts. The way that we track weapons and gear in the military is through basically a barcoding system and scanning and receipt, and you pass the weapons, you scan it into you. Pretty much that's the way that you do it. Well, these have never, the receipts are missing. They can't be audited, and we're finding weapons in Africa and Syria. So, I mean, it's just and it's so glad Ro Khanna will be on a space tonight if you want to go fry him up again. But yeah, it's good for these people to be reminded these leftists, the progressives.
Yeah, I was trying to get Ro Khanna on again because he DM'd me about when you know how Ro Khanna made that he had a bill where he was calling out Trump's sending weapons to Israel. He sent it to me. I'm like, hey, do you want to come on RBN and talk about it? Because I'm like, this is a great chance to grill him. I didn't want to do it though. I was like, let's set up for Sabby and JB because I already destroyed them. I feel like it would be me bullying him at this point. So I was like, let me get Sabby and JB a crack at him. I'm not generally interested, to be honest, to talk to him again. I want to talk to another. I would love to talk to like an Ilhan. You know what I mean? Ilhan Omar, vote for Ukraine, Nazi. I would love to talk to someone like her. Like she sneaked this as AOC. I don't want to just fucking beat the shit out of Ro Khanna because he's the only guy who's wanting to go on RBN. I already had my crack at him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway,
he's actually kind of a good faith actor in a way. Like I feel like he's
a madman. That's how I talk to my RBN friends all the time. He's a madman. Because like I can't like why will you try to argue these things with me? Do you really believe this stuff? Like he's one of the few people I'm like, do you really believe this? Because remember, he was on our show and he asked me this question, like, Nick, you don't think the United States ever engaged in war for good reasons? I'm like, bro, are you serious? like almost like Ro Khanna came on the show.
And the best is that every time they want to do that, the good reasons war or the humanitarian war, they always cite Serbia, and you're like, oh, okay.
He wasn't even that smart. He went back to World War II. I'm like, bro, you really gotta go back to World War II.
Oh my gosh, what did we do that to rescue the Jews? Is that the story, Ro Khanna? We went to World War II to rescue the Jews and liberate the camps.
Yeah, that's the story he tried to tell us.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not trying to pick on him, but he's literally crazy. Like for you to come on RBN and think this is gonna work, you must somewhat believe it. Like I don't know, man. He's definitely a madman. He's definitely a madman because even after our exchange, you would think he'd be done with it. He still like DMs me every once in a while. He had no problem with like how our show went. I'm like, dude, this dude's crazy, bro. That was one of the worst destructions on RBN. he's still cool with me. Like he's a madman. Period. Now another thing that Ro Khanna, he also sent me a link of him joining the right to demand the release of the Epstein files. So I thought that was another interesting reason to invite him on to like grill him about that. Like if I was going to talk about Epstein with Ro Khanna, I wouldn't be like, hey, Ro Khanna, I heard that you signed a resolution with Thomas Massie. I'm like, hey, Ro Khanna, do you know about his connections with the Mossad? That's what I would ask him. You guys know he's not going to answer that question. I would love to see him ask, why do you think Biden didn't release the Epstein file? To me, it's obvious. Not only to protect Bill Clinton, but they got to protect the Mossad and the Israeli spy apparatus. Right. Anyway, sir, I'll give you last. Anything else you want to add before I'll get to our next segment?
No, let's go to the next one. I'm so ready.
30 minutes in, I guess we finally get to the big story of the day. Everyone now about I like seeing MAGA.
That's how I am with this topic.
MAGA being surprised about Trump Epstein. I feel like I've been gaslit by MAGA for years because I was always confused why MAGA talked about Epstein. Like if you look at my Twitter history, these are things that like the post-duopoly communist left. We've been exposed because we try to expose the decadent behavior of the capitalist class. You know what I mean? So this has always been a story that Tanky's been on. Right. Like this is the way we can expose how the capitalist class runs sex codes. We've been talking about this. So when I saw the right wing bring up Epstein, how many times did we say, don't you know your boy is involved with Epstein too? Like we said that all the time over the years on RBN. So absolutely. I was always confused on why people on the right were talking about this story. And it appears that they was literally just that delusional.
Yes.
There's no explanation. The only explanation of why they was obsessed with Epstein is they were so delusional that they thought Donald Trump was hatching a scheme. And I'm dead serious. This is the shit they were saying. They were saying that Donald Trump got close with Epstein on purpose, infiltrated the deep state so he can get information on Epstein. And then he was going to expose the Epstein crime family. He got close to Epstein just to expose them. And then whenever people on the left call out Trump's and Epstein's connection, they be like, oh, you normie, you don't get it. You don't get it.
Yeah, there are quite a few that are still holding on in kind of the QAnon camp. But in other big news that goes along this line, what the hell's his name? The January 6th, the shaman. He came out today and said, fuck Trump, F Israel. Shit. Yeah. So if QAnon shaman is off the train, this is a bad sign for Trump. I can't believe those words came out of my mouth. Like as a political analyst, I'm talking about a man who wears horns and became famous for walking through the Capitol on January 6th, and he's making political commentary he said F Trump, F Israel, and he wants the Epstein files. So maybe some of those diehard QAnons are also kind of, I think that the events of the last 2 days, or at least Monday and Tuesday, well, yeah, today too, have kind of really put these people on the back foot with this whole thing. Like at first I was like, they might be able to get through this Epstein, like smoke and mirrors cover up if they can play dumb enough. But after these last 3 days, I think it's too far gone now. It's too far gone. And now we have the Wall Street Journal story that came out today, which I don't know. I guess it's up to people whether or not they want to believe the Wall Street Journal, but the Wall Street Journal has had a bunch of very exclusive leaks that turned out to be true in this presidency. That's one of the president's biggest complaints is there's so many leaks in this administration. So apparently the Wall Street Journal says he's on there multiple times. So
yeah, there's fairly new footage that CNN has. I have it. Here it is. I have it saved here. I'm going a little bit out of order, but since you mentioned that, it's been very interesting to me to see this very obvious pivot the Democrats are making. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but I saw a poll. I didn't get a chance to report on it. There's a poll that shows that a larger percentage of Democrats are distrustful of the government regarding how they handle the Epstein files compared to even Trump supporters.
Wow.
Like, Trump supporters actually like this. It was a shocking poll. Like, when they were like, oh, you actually know that Democrats are actually more concerned about this than Republicans? You would never know this.
Wow.
So they read those polls, and then they seen this massive political weakness, which shows how incompetent they are. They had this gold mine of an attack on Donald Trump, but they couldn't do it because that's how loyal they are to Israel. Like, they rather protect Israel than defeat the guy they said was the biggest threat to democracy, which is why they didn't end the genocide, and which is why they didn't release the Epstein list. There's another quote that MAGA people used to say all the time to justify their sycophantic behavior. They will say, well, if Trump is on the Epstein list, why didn't Democrats release it? They obviously released it. That shows how unserious they are, because these people think that Democrats actually care about winning. Like, that's
no, they actually. We've talked about it before. I think you and I have talked about it before, and now I'm actually certain the Democrats like to lose. They like to be the minority party. They like to be the underdog. They prefer it. They're more effective that way. And I, that's why I don't even entertain these. I once in a while I'll reply to the AOC to make fun of her, but I don't even entertain these Democrats anymore. This is so bad. They're worse than they're worse than the right. They're worse than the right.
We are seeing the MAGA right going after Trump way more than liberals went after Biden for. And actually, let me rephrase that, because quote unquote going after doesn't really even mean anything. You know what I mean? Because technically there was people who went after Biden for genocide, but they voted for him anyway. You know what I mean? Right. So does that really matter? Does that really something that we're supposed to measure? But we're seeing people literally burn their MAGA hats. Like we never seen anything like this before. We're seeing Trump's own people rally to Thomas Massie.
Yes.
Isn't he from like Kentucky? Yeah, a random congressperson from Kentucky. He loses his base to Thomas Massie. So I had this up for a while, so let me explain what we're talking about here. Because obviously the main headline is Trump being on the Epstein files, but I'm going to show you guys a few receipts. We're going to go through this in order. Yeah, no, I got just sit back, relax. I'm going to put you on the journey here. So let's start here, where Thomas Massie, and this red flag, and this shows that Donald Trump is mostly a fucking idiot. Like, he's not like this political chess master that a lot of people make. He's also just really dumb. But the problem is his rivals are dumb too, so no one can really take advantage of it. But if you are in the Epstein files, Donald Trump is doing the worst thing possible if you want to cover this up. He constantly talking about it, constantly retweeting it, and he's the most guiltiest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. So Thomas Massie was like, hey man, I got enough Republicans where we're gonna force the release of the Epstein files. And then Donald Trump was like, fuck Thomas Massie. This motherfucker start writing a diss track. Immediately started going after Thomas Massie the second that he's put this resolution to release the Epstein list, showing the world how guilty he is. So here's the tweet, or it's Truth Social. I seen Trump get ratioed to death on Truth Social trying to cover this up. So here's Donald Trump.
Yeah, he got ratioed last week. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, they're ratioing him every time he go after Thomas Massie. Like this is, I don't like Thomas Massie. I explained many times before, but it is greatly hilarious watching Massie own Trump every single goddamn day. Well, where was AOC and Bernie Sanders owning Biden every goddamn day? Yep. So that's just another example how the liberal Democrats are a worse code. Where was AOC just owning and ratioing Joe Biden? Like
she was his number one cheerleader. She was really good at making cover for Joe Biden.
Yeah, she was his number one propagandist. They have photos together holding hands that's going viral again. Mm-hmm. Biden, do you remember the photo out with Biden and AOC looked like they just finished going to prom together?
Yes, yes. It's just I hate this timeline.
Yeah, we got to laugh there. The only thing that stopped me from being insane is just laughing. And then every once in a while I disappear for 2 weeks like I just did.
Yeah.
Like I laugh to cope with it. Then I just disappear when I can't do it no more. So you guys can look forward to that again. Here, let me read this Truth Social. I had it for a while because I find this shit hilarious because how much is backtrack. Thomas Massie is like breaking raising records because every single time Trump go after him, he tweets a link to his fundraiser. He said, hey guys, Donald Trump is trying to protect pedophiles. Can you help me fucking hold him accountable? Or Donald Trump is trying to explode the budget. That's why he's mad at me. You want to help donate to hold him accountable? Donald Trump is sending weapons to Ukraine again. Do you want to donate to me and help hold him accountable? And my question, what was stopping all the progressives from doing this for Biden? I know I keep going back to it. I got derangement syndrome. I keep going back to this because it's crazy that there are a lot of people who still believe in them. But you guys realize that AOC and Bernie could have easily done this to Biden during the entire administration. Just take him apart, all his human rights violations, destroy him, and then use whenever Biden and the media to go after them when they were undeniably right, use it to fundraise. Like, what we thought, remember, Sarah? We all was Bernie bros when we was young and stupid. Yep. This is what we thought they was gonna do. You know what I mean? That's why we wasn't that stupid, but we were stupid in trusting them. But we had a solid plan because we wanted a bunch of motherfuckers that would do this before we realized that's not possible within the Democratic Party. You know what I mean? All right, let me read the tweet. Shut up. All right, I'll shut up. Thomas Massie, the worst Republican congressman. And an almost guaranteed no vote each and every time is an embarrassment to Kentucky. He's lazy, slow-moving, and totally disingenuous. A real loser. This is pure cope. Mm-hmm. And because this is not working. Never has anything positive to add. Thomas Massie never had anything positive to add to my warmongering, Sarah.
No.
He's never positively adding to me hiding a pedophile ring.
And he keeps talking about primarying the guy. So that's where all the fundraising's coming from because he keeps talking about primarying him. And Thomas Massie just says, I'm not going to be able to go up against this machine, guys. I'm going to need help. And then the money just pours in.
Yeah. And I don't know for sure. I'm just going based on what they say. So based on what they say, Thomas Massie has a lot of fucking support in his district. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the reason why he's doing this Maverick thing. He's one of the people like Marjorie Taylor Greene who wins by like 70 points every election. Deep red, so he's not really in trouble. And what is this rival going to do? You know what I mean? I'm going to primary Thomas Massie because he said he want to release the Epstein files.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to. And they're so successful at like building up all of this smoke and mirrors and distraction that like nobody remembers that at the end of the day, that's what this is. Massie has been pushing for the Epstein release in that bipartisan bill. And now, or that bipartisan, whatever it was, measure, and which obviously failed. And that's a huge threat. That's a huge threat to Trump. And that's what people should continuously focus on. Trump is going after Massie, not because he votes no on Big Beautiful Bill, but because of Epstein. That's the only reason. That's it.
Another thing is, I'm gonna use this as a shameless plug for mutual aid. You guys realize those mutual aid events is the only thing that kind of keep me sane, right? Like, I laugh, I bang my head at the keyboard. Like, I have Zoya, bro. I'll be melting down. I'm like, bro, I want to cover this no more. And I'll be fucking literally about to break. That's why I don't be streaming sometimes. I'm like, bro, I don't even want to talk about this shit. Like, there are times where I go through my stupid doomerism. I'm like, why the fuck would I even? What the point of even going live? But then I do mutual aid. Start reaching people, realize that we have solutions, we have ways. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Zoya damn near my fucking therapist sometimes. Like doing those little breaks when I do mutual aid and organize. If it wasn't for that dude, I would be fucking a mental head case after anything that we've seen. So that's just a shameless mutual aid plug. That's another way I cope as well with this nonsense. You know what I mean? The last part here, looking for someone to run against this guy, someone I can endorse. Oh, Jesus Christ. He
doesn't even realize that his endorsement really doesn't have any political weight anymore. It just doesn't. There's really there's not a lot of political currency in the MAGA piggy bank right now. Yep. So good luck to him if he wants to primary Thomas Massie, who is incredibly, like you said, popular in Kentucky. Incredibly popular.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't looked too much into it, but I saw a report that explained how he was extremely popular in his district. He's not going to worry about losing. That's why he's not really worried about these primary threats.
And you mentioned MTG. She's the same exact way. But these people, as much as we dislike them, or I actually don't dislike MTG or Thomas Massie, but many people do, they're down there talking to their constituents. They literally are. They go to town halls. They go to barbecues. They go to all of that crap in the community. And Marjorie Taylor Greene will say, I'm literally talking for my base. Like if it doesn't, she said it the last time, once you lose me, that's it.
I think that's an interesting point. I actually don't dislike Thomas Massie either. I recognize his position as my class enemy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. He's obviously our ideological enemy, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
But I can appreciate him, and he follows me, so I gotta be. He's a mutual.
Really? Look, Sarah killing the game. Sarah killing the game. That's a big follow on that. Well, like, dude, Thomas Massie has he has great moments. I love his moments with the AD, calling out the ADL, calling out APAC. Doesn't take any APAC. I don't know any other money.
People that on the left or whatever you want to call it, they need to realize that the reason why they like Thomas Massie, or they find themselves liking or drawn to, is not only the maverick in him, but there's a lot of libertarian policies that started off in the social libertarian movement. That's where all the libertarians stole their stuff from the socialists. So there's a lot of concepts that Thomas Massie supports that I do get behind, very much so. But then there's the whole libertarian thing that
brainwashed people don't know that communism is the true libertarianism.
It really is.
We're what people think libertarianism is. You know what I mean? We're going to end the capitalist police state. We're going to end imperialism. We're what we think. A lot of people think libertarians is. Whenever you hear libertarians complain about capitalism, complain about. I already gave it away. Whenever you hear them complain about communism, they actually complain about capitalism. How many times have you guys seen them make some shit up that actually they claim happened in Russia but happened in the United States? They will say in Soviet Russia. In Soviet Russia, don't you know that there's secret police who would arrest people who are enemies of the state? You mean a pro-Palestine protest? Anyway, I don't want to go on another fucking commie rant, but you guys know, I made this ready for. But every single critique they have of communism is actually a critique of capitalism. But the reason why I actually do like Thomas Massie on a lot of stuff he does. I don't dislike him, you know what I mean? But we have to acknowledge, and we can't fall into personality. This is me speaking to my audience here. We can't fall for personality codes. We have to acknowledge that he positioned himself as a class enemy. He's an anti-communist, and he's even against universal health care, which I think is deranged.
Yeah, that's really is deranged.
I think that's you support the massive explosion of medical debt. And I heard it. If you guys ever hear his argument, I'm not saying it so you guys understand where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? His argument is we can't have single-payer health care because we will have doctors who will be slaves, like the most lazy bullshit. Can you imagine if a firefighter was like, I don't want to take out the fire in this person's house, that would make me a slave if you forced me to do it. That's a brain rot argument you hear from these libertarians. I'm sorry, call me authoritarian if you want to, but if you're a doctor, you don't want to serve, if you don't want to help everyone, you don't deserve to be a doctor. That's period. But anyway, these are just the quick reasons why I think we should always make sure we understand that he's our class enemy. He will watch you die on the street without flinching at the end of the day. But 100%. I had to say that first because I will have to say now, pivot now, and say I love this motherfucker is destroying Trump, and I'm a big fan of what he's doing.
He's in Trump's dreams. Like, Trump is terrified of this guy.
Yeah.
Trump is terrified of anybody that is like cooler than him, or that people perceive as cooler or more, or someone that's more well liked than him, especially by his base. He is seething, and now he's trying to push Tulsi Gabbard again because he's really running out of like this sort of, these sort of star power allies. So now he's back to pushing Tulsi. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah, so now that I've bashed him a bit, now I can unapologetically enjoy the rest of this segment where Thomas Massie is destroying Trump and MAGA. Let's watch this clip because he explains, and he just embarrassed. Thomas Massie had one of the biggest W's I have ever seen in a politician in the modern era. I am not exaggerating. Someone let me know if there's a bigger dub by a congressman. You guys realize that he forced Mike Johnson to show his hand, and Mike Johnson canceled Congress until September. Do you guys understand how much Mike Johnson is getting destroyed because of this decision? That happened because Thomas Massie did what? He forced the vote. Where did we hear that strategy before?
Oh, wait a minute. I think we met during Force the Vote. The first time with AOC. Jesus. All right. We're forcing the vote again, but the Republicans actually do it. That's why they're more effective than the Dems. But go ahead. Forcing the vote.
He forced the vote on the Epstein list and forced Mike Johnson to show his hand that he's willing to shut down the entirety of Congress in order to protect the pedophile. Guys, this is why the most mad I see MAGA since the initial Pam Bondi cover-up. Like, after that story released, this story that came out that's still developing over the last 48 hours, bro, MAGA is fuming over Mike Johnson and the Republicans in Congress cover for these. So here's Thomas Massie. He's having fun with this. He is exposing these people, and this is glorious. What Thomas Massie is doing for the libertarians is what we wanted someone to do for us in the left. That's why, even though I just explained why I don't like him, I have to admire his work here. Like, this is fantastic stuff with Massie here. Let's watch this video.
The Rules Committee kind of come to a standstill last night over this issue. I mean, you used to be on the Rules Committee, and obviously you've been caring a lot about transparency in the Epstein case. Was that surprising at all?
No, it's not surprising to me. I don't think this issue is going away over August. I think that was the admonition of our speaker in there, was just sort of stick your head in the sand. Let the administration maybe dissipate this by dribbling some stuff out. I mean, I'm heavily paraphrasing, but work. I mean, people have wanted these files for years. And then, the president's staff, administration, his own children, his vice president have promised that these files would come out. And now we're being told it's a hoax. It doesn't wash. And
you guys see how Thomas Massie is just cooking them with facts? Trump can have all these meltdowns, calling them lazy, slow. It doesn't matter if you just sit there in the pocket and you destroy them with facts. And I keep going back to this because this is exactly what we wanted from Bernie and AOC, and they sold you out. This is what people want from Zoran. He's not even doing this. He haven't even tweeted about the famine in Gaza. He condemning globalized intifada already. There's no progressive example of this. But let's continue, because I'm gonna let this play because he's doing a great job just destroying the Trump administration, Mike Johnson.
Staff, administration, his own children, his vice president have promised that these files would come out, and now we're being told it's a hoax. It doesn't wash. And whether it's Republican, Democrat, or Independent, across all those categories, it's only like 5 or 6% who don't want the files out.
Do you think the president's at risk of losing his base over this issue?
Well, you don't lose your base over one single thing, but he's eroding his base. More importantly, if we don't take the right side of this issue, it's going to cost us votes in the midterms. People are becoming just.
See, now I'm kind of being picky here, but I'm consistent, right? You guys see how, just like some progressives who their goal is to save the Democratic Party, Thomas Massie ultimately wants to save his capitalist party code. He ultimately wants to say we can't lose votes in the midterms. But anyway, that's a picky critique, but you guys see that's kind of the same thing that I'm upset about. Your goal shouldn't be rehabilitating the party, is achieving the correct position, period. But let's continue.
The midterms, people are becoming despondent. They're apathetic. Why would they go vote if they gave us the House, the Senate, and the White House? And
he is right, though.
Transparency and justice they were promised doesn't happen. Why should they vote in the midterms? And I think it could be a real problem for us. That's why it would behoove the Speaker to bring this to the floor. It would be in the best interest of this institution. Just vote this out. Give it to the Senate and let them do their thing.
Do you think the president is losing trust with members like you who want more transparency?
I wouldn't say he's lost trust. I'm sort of in I would say, a different category. The president's consultants have spent $1.8 million against me. And I got a new tweet last night, or a Truth Social last night. And clearly that was because I've done this Epstein file. Like, dogs don't bark at parked cars, right? This bill is moving. This is coming to a vote. We've got enough Republican co-sponsors of the bill, twice as many as we need right now, such that when they sign it and every Democrat signs this, we're going to force a vote on it. It's not going away.
So I just want to show you guys that in full. I think that's Thomas Massie. This is how you do it. This is how you actually be a politician and advocate for your position, because he's putting maximum pressure on Trump while also playing the statesman game. He's not like lashing out and cursing Trump out that will piss off the Trump supporters. He just technically destroying Trump and showing them what it really means to be quote unquote American first. And another reason why this is a giant dub, as I mentioned, is because he forced Mike Johnson to show his hand and embarrass himself in a massive way. But Sarah, do you have anything you want to add regarding?
No, I want to watch the Mike Johnson.
I don't know if you've seen this or not, but this is why it's a giant victory. Now, I'm a sidetrack once again because I always make the force the vote comparison. I do that because I want you guys to know how ridiculous the dumb left is. That they didn't understand that this was a good strategy. Imagine in a parallel universe where we forced a vote on universal health care in the middle of a pandemic. Then, after forcing that vote, Democrats did have to do press conferences just like this. Imagine if Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries are forced to do a press conference just like this and explain to their base. Remember, Democrats, even the Democrat normies, support Medicare for all at a 75% clip, maybe 60. Let's go with the low number. The low number I've seen is 60. 60% Democrats support Medicare for all, and you don't want to force this conversation? Guys, I know this is an old conversation, but you must understand how malicious these people are. In a war that they didn't even understand basic strategy. You know what I mean? And Mike Johnson here is going to make an ass of himself because Thomas Massie forced a situation where journalists will ask him this question. The same situation that we forced the vote on healthcare, it would have forced journalists to ask Nancy Pelosi the question. They would have been forced to ask, hey, man, we are in a pandemic. Every other country has healthcare. Why wouldn't you? So you guys see how that could have been a massive PR victory for us, but they avoided it because it would have been so damaging to the Democratic Party. That is what Thomas Massie just did to Mike Johnson. Let's play this clip, and then I'll get you in here, Sarah, as you respond. I know the question is a little hard to hear. I'll let you know what they said.
With that, I'll take your questions. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, the reporter actually hard to hear, so I'm gonna say what he says. So the transcript is here. The reporter asked him that Thomas Massie said this is going to come back and bite Republicans. I don't know why the reporters are already hearing this. Essentially, the question he asking Mike Johnson is, don't you think this is going to bite Republicans in the ass being revealed as pedophile protectors? That's the question. I know you guys can't hear it.
What do you say to the schism inside your conference here?
I say Thomas Massie is the one trying to bite Republicans. Okay, I'm not quite certain what his strategy is.
But it's just not him. I mean, otherwise you guys wouldn't be calling off.
So I just read it in the
How
first
is he
place.
trying to bite Republicans by making them show the Epstein list? How is that biting Republicans?
Do you guys think this is going to go well over with the MAGA
Because
base?
they're not behaving now? They're all going to get punished? I don't understand this. What is he talking about?
It doesn't make sense. He's not even trying to make sense. He's panicking. So I'll read the transcript. I'm sorry, because that video is kind of useless. You can't hear the reporter. So the reporter said, Thomas Massie said this is going to come back and bite Republicans. You guys heard him say, Thomas Massie is the one trying to bite Republicans. I'm not certain what his strategy is. And then the reporter fired back with an obvious pushback. And not just him. Otherwise, you wouldn't be calling off the week tomorrow. And this is the question that Mike Johnson is going to have to face until midterms. Like, Thomas Massie put him in such a fucked up position. This is why I'm praising him for this, even though I explained why I don't like him. But this is brilliant politics. This is true 5D chess moves. Because now Mike Johnson is going to have to explain this for a year and a half. And I'm going to continue the video where he responds to the reporter. And you're going to see he has no explanation.
Oh, I just explained why. We're not going to play political games with this. We've all been very clear and transparent.
We're not going to play political games, Sarah. He's been clear and transparent. Not even trying to sound believable.
The most transparent administration.
House Rules Resolution.
Yeah, the most transparent administration ever. That's so Trumpian.
The House Rules Resolution sets a good standard and requires all credible evidence to be released, and that's exactly where the White House is. There's no, as I've said many times over the last, as I've said many times, there's no daylight between the White House and the House. You have to allow the legislation to ripen, and you also have to allow the administration the space to do what it is doing. The president.
He just said that there's no daylight between the White House and the House. You have to pause the entirety of the House. Just so Trump isn't exposed. He said we have to allow the White House to do their thing. We got to allow the White House to cover this up. I'll play it again. I don't know if you guys caught that, but he literally said we got to let Trump cover this shit up.
As I've said many times, there's no daylight between the White House and the House. You have to allow the legislation to ripen, and you also have to allow the administration the space to do what it is doing. The president has said clearly, and he has now ordered his DOJ to do what it is we've all needed DOJ to do for years now.
Which is
And
to
that is
release
get
MLK
everything released.
files and go after Obama?
So what is the DOJ doing? I'm going to show you guys what the DOJ did a few weeks ago. That's the main story. You guys see how I'm building to it? So DOJ did show Donald Trump something, which led to Donald Trump fucking freaking out.
Yeah.
So let's continue this. You guys see why I went in the order I went, right?
No, I see the setup. Oh, great.
And that is to get everything released. So they're in the process of that. There's no purpose for Congress to push an administration to do something that they're already doing. And so this is for political games. I'm very resolute on this. We can both call for full transparency and also protect victims. And if you run roughshod or you do it too quickly, that's not what happens. But I'm convinced that the DOJ is going to do their job. The administration is going to do their job, and we'll do our job. And so we'll see to it. Yes, ma'am.
So we all know that was maybe 45 seconds of him talking, and it was nonsense.
Nothing.
And guys, I don't have time to show you guys, but the right-wing reaction to this clip is just as you imagine. Like Mike Johnson, whatever credibility he might have had with Trump supporters because Trump endorsed him, the same way they're mad at Trump, they're done with him after this because Thomas Massie forced him to show his hand in a way that he never expected to. And now this leads to the main story here, where he said we got to let the Department of Justice do their job. So, for all the MAGA influencers who try to throw Pam Bondi under the bus, you guys remember those people?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Pam Bondi did do her job. I told you guys I don't blame Pam Bondi at all. What did I say? I said Pam Bondi is following the direction of Donald Trump, and all the desperate Trump supporters were trying. Pam Bondi is covering this up. Pam Bondi was like, "Hey, sir, let me speak to you real quick." I actually was looking through the files, like we said we would. It seems like your name is in it.
Yeah, multiple times. Lots of times. Lots of times, it says.
They said his name was in there lots of times.
Multiple times.
And there's a ton of child porn.
Yes, tons.
Tons.
300 gigabytes of files.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't know how much of that was that sort of what is it called? SAM content. I don't really like to say the words CP, but yeah. So it's pretty grotesque, and like we've discussed in the beginning, I mean these leaks out of the Trump administration that have ended up in Wall Street Journal and the Atlantic have wound up being true. So there's obviously leaks in the administration. So I'm leaning towards this probably being true, especially given Trump's really erratic behavior and talking lately. I think it explains a lot.
He said that Jeffrey Epstein is a good guy and Jeffrey Epstein likes him kind of young. You guys remember that quote from Trump?
Yeah.
Come
he
on,
likes
man.
Beautiful women. He likes them kind of young.
Just like me. I like them kind of young. Like, bro, of course I believe this. I didn't have comment. Not only were this motherfuckers close friends with the Clintons, Bill Clinton. A lot of people forget about this. Let me pull the picture. I used to post this picture all the time. Back when I was a small Twitter account, I used to post this picture all the time. Back before I used my real name, because I was warning people about Trump forever. I didn't have to say, but look at this.
Yeah.
You gotta know Chelsea Clinton and Ivanka Trump are longtime friends.
Yeah, they're very good friends. They're friends with the Pelosi kids too.
Now, to be fair, if you are among the decadent, the morally depraved capitalist class, and you're in New York and you among the billionaire club, they have a short-knit community.
Yeah.
People that know who are morally bankrupt. So all these people in New York, they all was partying with Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. They were very close together. Which go back to this. I'll tell you guys, I went a little bit out of order. This is why I'm supposed to share this. Because it is interesting watching Democrats go after Epstein. I know the obvious thing people say, well, why didn't they expose Epstein under Joe Biden? Well, to be fair, it would be political malpractice if the Democrats wasn't doing what they're doing right now. You see how liberal media is now doing deep dives and finding the discovered photos? Because I feel like the liberal class realized that they pulled the biggest political choke job of all time. They just now realize 10 years after Donald Trump went down the escalator that they have a political winner against this motherfucker. So I don't know if you guys know, I know you guys don't watch corporate news like I do, but they are going all in. Like, I have never seen Democrats go all in on the Epstein story like this because they know how politically damaging this is Donald Trump, and they were trying to use this to revitalize the Democratic Party, which is why CNN is showing all these footage, all these photos, like Trump and Jeffrey Epstein hanging out and partying together. I saw here are a few of them. I don't feel like playing this clip, but there's all these like photos newly attained. So essentially now they feel like this is like a giant vulnerability for Trump and MAGA, and they will be 100% right. This is another funny meme I found. So Pam Bondi, as I said before, is just like the prosecutor general of Ukraine. You know how the prosecutor general in Ukraine, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try. He's like a Zelensky loyalist. That's how Pam Bondi is for Trump.
Yeah.
That's why I did. How many segments, guys, calling out these MAGA people for being shameless? Like, shamelessly throwing Pam Bondi under the bus, even though she was following the direction of Trump. And Trump even had to say, hey, guys, can you guys stop attacking Pam Bondi? Please. Anyway, I don't know what else I'm about to show here. I think I'm almost done with this segment. Sarah, do you have anything else? I have one more quick segment we can do before we begin to wrap up.
No, but I'm glad that Pam Bondi is back in the good graces of Trump. But you also have to remember that Pam Bondi can't go anywhere. She's the Qatari connection. She's got very strong ties to Qatar. That's why she's there. And she has the experience in the human trafficking lobby. So that's why Pam Bondi's there. I'm not kidding. Pam Bondi and Susie Wiles were both lobbyists that were there to cover up the human trafficking going on for Qatar to build the
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The soccer stadiums. So after they were done covering up that human trafficking, you know, they're very experienced at covering up human trafficking. So that we're just seeing them do what they're good at. Susie Wiles, Pam Bondi. Check it out, guys. It's called Broward Partners. It was a firm in Florida. They both worked there all along the time when Pam Bondi was AG, while Epstein was playing with kids down in Florida the first time. And then after that, they both went and worked for Qatar. And who else went and worked for Qatar? Cash App Patel. So
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yes. So there's a lot more going on here. And that's why Pam Bondi wasn't given the boot in the beginning. Because Pam Bondi is a cause of a lot of big rift inside of MAGA. She caused the breakup in the FBI and the DOJ. The FBI, you know, the Cash App Patel and the Dan Bongino supporters were like, F Pam Bondi. And then, you know, so now she's kind of moving herself into the Trump camp, firmly into the Trump camp.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to have to do a rabbit hole because I know she has so much bodies and skeletons. I never did a deep dive on Pam Bondi. I know she played a big part of giving Epstein and Maxwell like a sweetheart deal before. Before a journalist exposed Epstein's true crimes. But I did not know about that at all, but it doesn't surprise me. As you guys see, the capitalist class has a relaxed libertarian interpretation of the law when it comes to the ruling class.
Correct.
But they believe in a harsh authoritarian interpretation of the law when it comes to ordinary class people.
This is this parallel system that they're kind of inventing with the tech bros, this parallel economy with their crypto, parallel justice system, which they pretty much already have, parallel social systems they pretty much already have. But that's what all of this is. It's parallel universe, basically, where these rich elites live. And we've already known about this, but they're really like making this very official, kind of set in stone. It's becoming very apparent these days, exactly what you said, different rules for different classes.
Yeah, that's why it's always funny when people say that communism is this crazy authoritarian ideology. As I explained before, capitalists believe in harsh authoritarian law and order for the working class, but relaxed laissez-faire interpretation of the law for the ruling class. That's why they didn't imprison and jail any of the bankers responsible for the economic crisis in 2008. That's why they constantly pardon each other. They are relaxed when it comes to the law for the ruling class. You guys realize that we're the exact opposite, right? You guys realize that communists are the exact opposite. We believe in relaxed interpretation of the law for the working class.
Correct.
Great for the working class, but harsh. I believe in maximum authoritarianism against the ruling class, against the capitalist billionaire class, against people who own any sort of means of production, maximum authoritarianism. So that's why the capitalist class, they accuse communists of being crazy authoritarianism. You know why?
You're going to be the first ones to the rope. like you're going to be the first ones to the wall. Of course they're authoritarians. Yeah.
How many of these Cubans have you guys seen?
They say Castro was a tyrant, and then you say, oh, and then they say he took my grandparents' plantation.
I'm glad you knew I was going with that.
Or the girl from China who's like, my grandparents had an egg monopoly, and then Mao took over, and they broke up the egg monopoly, and we had to leave. And it's like, that's good.
Yeah,
that's a net positive.
Don't you know what China did to Jack Ma? Don't you know they took my family's farm away?
They didn't do enough. He's still able to ride his bike around China in public. So
our bet, the bet that communists make, which scare the capitalist class, we will say, and we will openly say that we are extremely authoritarian against the corrupt capitalist class. We are extremely authoritarian against them, and we want them held accountable. Now, if you want to run and turn around and say, oh my God, the communists are mean to the billionaire class, that's the battle we want, because there are more of us than there are than you. That's the theory of chain. You guys know I'm a fucking nerd. Yeah. I'm getting off track here. I didn't mean put that comment down. Where'd that comment for Zoya go? So you gotta know Zoya's love, Zoya's life. Breaking House Oversight Chair James Comer. Oh, Jesus Christ. They got a partner Ghislaine Maxwell. Unbelievable. So a lot of MAGA people, a lot of these propagandas, like, oh, don't you know that they're gonna grill Maxwell and get the truth?
No.
I told you guys Trump didn't let us down.
No.
No, explain to us why that's fucking bullshit. I think
We don't want Ghislaine talking to these people. We don't want any of this because exactly what they're going to do is they're going to coach Ghislaine what to say. And after that, they're going to say, guess what now? Case closed. You're never going to hear about it ever again. And that's going to be the end of it. That's what they're going to do. That's why I said I don't want a Ghislaine tell-all because the tell-all is going to be approved by the powers that be. And once the tell-all comes out, then they'll really say, now we can finally put this to rest.
And I don't know if you guys know.
Too much of a one single point of failure. Say if Ghislaine comes out and like just says like none of this, like this isn't real, then that's it. That's a risk you're willing to take. Not me.
And what are they going to do if Maxwell gives Trump the answer he wants? Do they pardon her?
Right.
Do you guys know how fucked up that would be for the victims? Like, if you guys are interested, I haven't memorized them all. Look at the stories, like each individual story of what Ghislaine Maxwell did. There was one story I read recently how she was hanging out with a bar, recruiting young kids. Yep. Like, bro, the stories regarding what she did is disgusting. Like, she would take teenage girls, grope their new breasts, trying to determine their size, see if there was one to, and they Epstein's type. Like, bro, anyway, I haven't memorized all of them, but her stories are horrific, man.
Yeah,
it's horrific. Imagine if Trump pardoned this person. Imagine the disrespect for the.
But you're backed into a corner because it's like Trump. If you don't pardon her, then you're saying that. What are we saying here? So who was she trafficking people to? Just Jeffrey Epstein? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like that's why the Trump and the Trumpists have really backed themselves into a corner. Because now you have to pardon Ghislaine or give her at least give her a free or fair shake, quote unquote, right? They've really done a number to themselves with this.
I thought this too. I just thought it was funny. Nancy Pelosi released the files.
Yeah, like, are you serious?
No shame at all.
Yeah. If Nancy Pelosi is owning you on the timeline, you need to reevaluate your political ideology /party / whatever.
Hey, bro, we all know that Pelosi's full of shit, but you should never allow Nancy Pelosi to be populated. No. Like, come on, man. We know Pelosi full of shit, but you should never allow this to happen.
Yeah, but they all know now. They all know. This is the thing. They all know that the files ain't never going to come out. Not in her lifetime, anyway. She'll be dead in 5 years. And, so why not just everybody jump on the release the files train?
So MAGA's going through some things.
They are going.
Remember we talked about this last year. We explained how after the election, I told you guys liberals are going through some things. Remember that Lorraine I did, and how we're going to be there to pick up liberals after the Democrats disappointed them. And what did I tell you guys? I told you guys after Trump won, as the progressives was head on fire. Oh my God, our democracy is done. It's the end of democracy. I'm like, guys, chill. Trump winning again doesn't mean anything except the fact that we will be able to pick up the MAGA people who inevitably will leave the MAGA code after Trump will disappoint them. So whenever the pendulum swings from the left to the right, it's our job as revolutionaries to pick up the people who fall from the pendulum. You guys understand? That's our job. Now here's Trump praising Mark Levin. So let's think about how cooked Donald Trump is. He is flaming and attacking anti-war politicians like Thomas Massie. He's attacking Tucker Carlson and essentially condemning his entirety of his own base who are talking about Jeffrey Epstein. He essentially said, I don't want your support if you care about pedophile protection rings. So as he is telling people that he don't want their support because they care about holding pedophiles accountable, he is then giving endorsements to who? Lindsey Graham, Mark Levin, Laura Loomer. Mm-hmm. Like I have said so many times that the Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens wing of MAGA never had influence and never has power. I'm sorry to tell it to you guys. Mark Levin has always been the power broker in MAGA.
Yep.
Look, Trump is promoting his book. Look, go get the great new book by Mark Levin. Let me play a short clip because essentially them explaining how Trump, this is the new MAGA coalition, Mike Johnson and Mark Levin.
We have a lot to run on, and you have a lot to run against, given the other party. But I will tell you this, we better be united, we better be strong, we better be focused, we better be articulate. We can't waste our time on Epstein and other stuff that are going on here that some people want us to focus on. I've about had it with all that stuff. We better focus on who we are, what we're doing, where we want to take the country, and what they want to do to the country. Mr. Speaker, God bless you, my friend. I appreciate you very, very much.
You too, Mark. Thanks for all you do. God bless.
That's the MAGA coalition, guys. Stop worrying about Epstein.
Yeah.
Go back to sleep. So, I just want to show you guys this. Because isn't it obvious now that Trump was always the swamp monster?
Mm-hmm.
And what did I tell you guys after the quote-unquote Trump assassination? I said you had to be fucking fool. You got to be crazy to believe the official narrative of the Trump assassination. So now that it's obvious, because I'm showing this last for a reason. Because we talked about how Donald Trump is going to continue the Ukraine war, right? We talked about that already. He's continuing the genocide in Gaza, continuing to arm Israel, covering up for the Epstein list. This man is the dream of the establishment. And I feel like we've been gaslit by MAGA propagandists who pretend that Donald Trump was going to fight the establishment. He was the perfect thing the establishment need. Some way to pull angry white dudes back into a dying Republican Party after George W. Bush. And then people will say, well, if Donald Trump is really an agent of the establishment, but like you claim he is, why did they try to kill him? And now we have new footage. I'm going to play this with no more of the commentary. And Sarah, you can chime in. But look at this boy.
Has just been shot. Oh, no. No. Either that or they're covering. We don't know. Either that or they're covering it.
Look at this
We
shit.
love you. We love you, President Trump. We love you. We love
Look at the camera people. Look at the camera people. They ushered these camera people to take the iconic photo of Trump. And I don't know everything about everything, but I would think that in a moment of a shooting, they will control the perimeter and wouldn't allow random camera people to be there. So let me rewind this again so you guys can see the reality of what happened. So I always tell you guys, don't just accept everything I say. Question me now, quote me later. I told you guys when this shit happened, now I'm 100% positive that the Trump assassination is bullshit. So let me go back and I'll finish it. Come on, man. Look at the flag. Look at the flag.
We love you. Yes. 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 We love you, President Trump.
We love the flag.
Oh, no shot.
What is going on? Like, he continues to move the photographers into position with help from his colleague. You would think that if there was shot fired, they would be 100% most focused on securing the perimeter, make sure that no one else gets shot. Look, why are you performing a production? I'm friends in pro wrestling. This is pro wrestling. The way that they lower the flags so they can get in the shot. Come on, man. Come on. Sarah, any reactions?
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, I went.
I was always on the side of it not being real, but this is.
Yep. And I saw someone.
You mentioned WWE, and actually somebody that was like making this case to me was like, "You think he doesn't know how to act in these situations? He's a WWE professional. He was on it many, many times for many years." It's like, what? Oh, I knew that about him, but I didn't put that in, I didn't really put two and two together. He's the perfect actor. And I wonder why these Republican freaks love him so much.
Yeah, he took a Stone Cold Stunner, guys.
He really did.
He know how to sell. And I saw someone, I can't find a comment, but someone really died for this. Do you guys think the ruling class will hesitate for 1 second for one fucking casualty, some dumb fuck who attends a Trump rally? You think they wouldn't make that sacrifice?
The flag,
also,
the flag is what does it. The flag is that's the ending. Like
yeah,
lower the
that's it.
flag.
Let me show that part again. Because if you were
one.
skeptical about, if you were skeptical about anything else, the flag lowering, yeah, that's it. You have a flag ready to be lowered, bro.
President Trump.
Then it's not where it's on the flag. So look at the flag. That's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
The thing is,
and MAGA supporters, I'm gonna pause it right there. MAGA supporters are so stupid. The people who did, I'm gonna calm down because they were shooting. They probably had a lot of fucking anxiety. But how do you not see the flag being lowered if you at the event and not question what the fuck is going on? That is so cartoonish. That's so cartoonish. And I don't know. This is the last thing I'll say on this. I don't know if the bullet that they used was real or not. Because that's something else they would say. They were like, what? How did Trump get the scar on the cheek? How did the person get injured or whatever? So based on my recollection, the sniper was able to climb up a building that he should never had access to and had a straight up line shot that was only around 40, 50 yards away. I might have to fact check myself on the exact number, but I remember reading something that saying that the shooter was only like a half a football field away. Do you guys know how well trained like Marine snipers are? That was one of the things that I was like, you missed? Like that we see like the lined up shot that he had on Trump. How do you miss, bro? That why everyone's saying like, how do you miss? Can you imagine being that much of a choke job? So my theory, I say it's a theory, because I had nothing to prove it. If you are going to have an assassination attempt and you're gonna fake it, you know how easy it is to have one of these trained snipers who's only half a football foot away to fire a ceremonial shot. These people can hit targets from a mile away. I admit that this is possible too, Marvin. I admit that the shooter probably did choke. I'm putting theories out there. I'm not saying that any of these things are concrete. But one of the reasons why I question is like, bro, how do you possibly miss that shot? Maybe I think after seeing this footage, knowing that, look, if you question me on this, look up how Marine snipers are trained and look at the crazy feats that they can do. You know what I mean? I easily think they can pull a trick shot like this off. But I guess that is a reach. I admit that. But Sarah, we can wrap up. I know you probably got to head out here.
Yeah, my laptop's about to die.
Yeah, we definitely got to do this. We know we got this 2 times a month. We do. Usually this is a new show. So I figure we can have a bye week next week. And then you guys will see Sarah from DDG on our new
I
Nick
will not be here the 5th of August until the 10th. I'll be in the Middle East, I think. So I don't know if any of our shows fall in there. So
next time you come back, you're gonna have a hella lot to report on. Look at
and
Sarah.
I'll hopefully have a tan.
You guys are killing that at DDG. Anything coming up with you guys? Anything you want to promote?
No, just stay tuned. We have lots of trips coming up. We're just getting back from Moscow. I obviously didn't go, but I'll see you guys on Sunday. I wore my prison jumpsuit today. I'm orange because everybody is talking about I need to go to prison. So I figured I'd just meet you halfway. Wear my prisons with me. So yeah, I'm here with orange is the new black. But I'll see you guys on Sunday. Lots of new articles coming out on Substack as well. So make sure you guys subscribe.
Yeah. Now, next time you go to Moscow, next time you guys go to Russia at DDG, I'm definitely going.
October. We'll put you on the list.
Bet. Hey, Zoya, you trying to go to Russia? I'm not going back. I'm a fucking illegally immigrate. I'm playing.
Won't come back.
I won't come back. Anyway, I'm like, can someone smuggle me to China from here?
We'll be in China. Hopefully, we'll be in China in September.
What?
Yes.
All right, man. I'm going to one of those trips. Boy, you coming with me? You go with me. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll be back on Friday. I'm nailing down a guest. I may do solo, but I have a few guests I'm working on. Appreciate you guys watching. Remember, this show is my new Nick at Night schedule for season 3.
I love Nick at Night. I like that.
Yeah. People have been asking me to do this about 4 or 5 times a week. I'm like, man,
I like it.
I get back to it. I'm like, all right, let's do 3 times a week. People have been asking for it, and we're going to deliver it. We got a lot of great clips that are releasing daily. I feel like we are firing all cylinders now, RBN. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show. Make sure you guys check out my friend Sarah at DDG. Make sure you guys check out our Patreon, like and share the stream. Much appreciated, guys. Have a good night, y'all. Peace out.